Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm pleased to follow the honourable member representing the cities of London and Westminster. I was disappointed she struck a more partisan tone than other speakers in the debate, and perhaps didn't recognise as fully as she might the contribution to the current bill that's been made by members on this side of the House. And I'm glad that in the debate across the chamber that has been acknowledged. But I want to speak, Madam Deputy Speaker, specifically on new clause 22 that's been tabled as an amendment to this bill on access to public funds for survivors of domestic abuse. I think people are often quite surprised to discover there is a large number of families in the UK, law-abiding, hard-working, often with children born in the UK, sometimes children who are UK nationals, whose immigration status is subject to this no recourse to public funds condition. At the liaison committee on the 27th of May, I asked the Prime Minister about the position of a Pakistani origin family in my constituency with 2 children, both born in the UK, that the father had stopped work because of the coronavirus lockdown, and that family was being forced into destitution because they had no recourse to public funds. The Prime Minister's answer was that a family in that situation should be entitled to help of one kind or another. And I very much agree with that view that the Prime Minister put forward. Unfortunately, the government's current policy does not deliver help to families in that situation. Over 3 million people have claimed universal credit since the beginning of March because their work has ended and they haven't been eligible for one or other of the government schemes. That vital safety net provided by universal credit is simply not available for people with no recourse to public funds, and both the Home Affairs and the Work and Pensions Select Committees have recommended unanimously that the no recourse to public funds restriction should be lifted for the duration of the current crisis. One of the points the Prime Minister made at the liaison committee was that he'd find out how many people are in that position. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to because the Home Office doesn't know. It appears the Home Office doesn't even have an estimate of how many there are. Fortunately, the Children's Society has reported that there are at least 100,000, over 100,000 children in the UK whose parents have leave to remain but no recourse to public funds. Where someone is a victim of domestic abuse, having no recourse to public funds is catastrophic. Protections that the House supports for victims are simply not available. The barriers they face are generally insurmountable. Only 5% of refuge vacancies are accessible. The reason is that housing costs in a refuge are largely met through housing benefit. People with no recourse to public funds cannot claim housing benefit. As Women's Aid points out, the options for a woman with no recourse to public funds unable to access a refuge space are shocking, either homelessness or returning to the perpetrator. I welcome the fact that there is a small pilot underway, but we know what the gap is. Anyone who came to the UK other than on a spouse visa cannot benefit from the domestic violence concession. The other people in this category need that help as well, and I do urge the House to support new clause 22.